Hey, watch this episode on YouTube.
Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
Welcome back to Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, the podcast where two dudes, that is us, watch cartoons. My name is Evan.
And my name is Alex. And today we're joined by a very special third dude in the building today, from an island of his own, you might say. We are joined by Survivor 45 finalist Jake O'Kane. Jake, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Yo, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me, man. I'm hyped for this podcast because I might not be the two dudes, but I am a dude that likes cartoons. You know what I mean?
That's
all we ask.
That's only qualification. So
Good.
yeah, I mean,
Sure.
how we got here was I was just following you on Twitter, and every other of your tweets, I was like, oh, this guy belongs on our podcast. And I think I literally sent you one of your own tweets. And I was like, please, when your season's over, you will enjoy our podcast. Please come on. And I'm glad we were finally able to make this work. We got a good one today, too. Jake, Jake, you introduce it. What are we covering today? What movie we watching and talking
We're
about?
covering Pokemon 2000, the second
That's
Pokemon
us.
movie. I'm hyped for it. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Been a huge Pokemon fan my whole life. Play the games, like even I played a card game at one point, like not in a long time, but at one point. But this is an iconic movie.
Yeah.
So I'm hyped to talk
Yeah,
about it.
dedication. So the first thing to start off with, it feels like a prerequisite. I do want to talk a little bit about your Survivor 45 experience. First and foremost, this is not like any sort of secret, but my younger brother works on Survivor. He was part of the Dream Team. And so he wanted me to tell you that while he has been out there, he has been like fans of some people and he likes watching them, but he has never enjoyed watching someone more than he enjoyed watching you. He literally he was like, I don't know what it is about this guy. His personality is infectious. When he smiles, you want to smile. When he laughs, you start laughing. And I think that was just such a, like, honestly, do you feel that was the reception from your Survivor experience? Like, are most people very excited when you were coming on screen?
I mean, I was very surprised to get like the response that I did because obviously, like the game, I didn't win, so the game didn't end the way I wanted it to happen. But you know, you don't know how you're gonna be like received coming home. But I did get a huge positive response, and for it to be as positive as it was just an absolute blessing, and I was super satisfied with that. You know, you go out there, it's not something what you're looking for. Like I went out there to like play. Like the experience was my whole thing. The TV was kind of like secondary. But for that to just have such a good response as it did for myself, like that was truly heartwarming.
You know, it's hard because I've been on my TV myself, and my fan response was horribly, horribly, horribly negative. So I got a ton of hate. So what I think is so special is what you were able to do, and you can't teach this, but you're just able to get your personality and like, not to be cheesy, but like your heart through the screen and into people's rooms, which is not an easy thing to do. So I appreciated your journey. Like you said, there were a lot of blunders, but it was very fun. My favorite question to ask people is like, what is your favorite moment from the season that we didn't see from an audience perspective? What's something small, big, whatever have you? What's a thing you wish people had saw?
Oh, you know, like just like the joking around, like the BSing you do with people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, Drew, I'm bored. Tell us some philosophical stuff that we can talk about for the next 6 hours. And then he would say something philosophical that we talked about for the next 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I miss moments like that. You know what I mean? There's just no phone. It's an entirely different experience. You know, it's so cool because we're so connected nowadays, you know?
That's a good way to put it. I remember I got my phone back and it felt like really foreign in my hand. I was like, I don't know what to do with this right now. And so it's got to be
Can I
like
ask you
tenfold for you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like almost afraid to open it. Like I got handed back and I'm like, I don't even want to like turn it on.
What's
you know
gone
what I mean? Like
wrong?
at least that was my experience. I don't know about you.
In the past
How long
30
is the
days,
circle
yeah.
filming?
So
Was
the
that, like, a
circle,
month,
we were gone about like 2 weeks total. So I'm
okay.
gone from America for 5-6 weeks, but the game itself was only 2 weeks.
Right.
So
It's
it's
filmed in
not
Georgia,
nearly
right?
as bad.
Where's it filmed? The UK, right?
It was in the UK, but
UK,
they've
okay.
recently just moved to the US, so should make
Okay.
it easier for them. But yeah, so not nearly as bad, but so like just 2 weeks
Nicer
without my phone.
accommodations too.
Yeah, and the accommodations are way nicer. So I imagine for you guys, it's like camping on steroids. So
Yeah.
I always love it. You know, you're actually and sorry that you're not our first, but you're our second survivor, third placer to come on the podcast. We had Mr. Xander last year, or maybe 2 years ago now. He came on and he picked the most obscure movie you will ever in your life. He said, I want to cover Surf's Up, the animated penguin surfing movie with Shia LaBeouf. And me and Evan were like,
great.
what? We were like, why? What do you mean? And we watched it,
It was
and we were like,
incredible.
incredible pick. We were like, underrated gem. So
Wait, was it good?
it was. We were shook.
It's like
Wow.
it's like a mockumentary.
It was mockumentary style, and it was just way funnier than we remember it being as children.
Mhm.
It's mockumentary style?
Yeah,
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
an office,
Oh,
like The Office.
it's very clever.
It's very clever.
That's like that's because that came out like right around when The Office was really huge, right? Didn't it? Like what around
Exactly.
like 2006 when they were taking off, right?
Yep,
Wow,
yep. So the
that's
style
really-
was just in everyone's brain. But so we were confused by his pick, but by the end of it, we were like, bravo, sir, bravo.
It's going to be really unfortunate for our next third place survivor player.
They got a tough act to follow here.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
my god.
We picked a good one, though. Pokemon.
Mhm.
So now I'm going
Yep.
to transition into my favorite all-time Pokemon question. I'm sure you're ready for it. Jake, what is your favorite Pokemon?
Oh my god. I'm gonna give a cop out answer. I'm just gonna do the tree go line, like the whole line.
Oh,
My
yeah.
first game
No,
was
no,
Pokemon
that's fair.
Emerald. It was Pokemon Emerald, and I remember
Great pick.
like being in I think I was in second grade when I got like
Mhm.
my first Game Boy and like going around with my friends and being like, all right, who do I pick, guys? And everyone was like, get that Blaziken right there. And I'm like, no, but you're talking about the green one,
Gotta
right?
get-
And I was just like, and
Look
everyone,
at him.
everyone voted Blaziken. And I was just like, what you got? I'm like, it's the journey. It's the whole way through. Because like Trico and Grovyle clearly body Torchic and Combustion. It's like, I think
Oh.
Sceptile's comparable to
I really
Blaziken.
like
Okay.
Sceptile. I really
I do
the
too.
one I think Sceptile's great, especially when you add a mega evolution, it becomes a grass dragon all of a sudden.
Yep.
Boom, Sceptile's up there with the best of them. My hot take is I actually think the Hoenn starters are the strongest of all the starters.
This isn't a hot take. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a hot take at
Oh,
all. I think that's a fact.
okay.
I would sit
I
here
think
and
they're
tell
all
you right
great.
now.
There's no
Yep.
no bad choices in
Yep.
them. No bad
You
choices.
cannot go
so
wrong.
it's like it's splitting hairs in my opinion. So
I
wonderful,
agree.
wonderful pick. Just to fill you in, mine would probably be Snorlax. It goes between Snorlax and Gengar. I change. Those are my two. And I think Evan, he's definitely a more casual Pokemon fan than you and I, but I think I'm gonna pick Infernape for Evan. I think that's what you said last time.
I love Infernape's design.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for the fire starters. Love Cyndaquil.
Yeah.
Love Charmander, obviously. But interestingly enough, about this movie, Pokemon 2000, this is before really we got to see those Pokemon, that region, the Johto region, in the TV show.
It's like a bridge. It's starting to
Mhm.
bring in the generation 2 of Pokemon, which
Yeah.
is really interesting and fun to me. Both movies have done this. We talked about it in the last one. Don Fan is like in the opening of
Oh,
Pokemon of
yeah.
Mewtwo, which okay, I'm gonna have to ask you guys. I know we didn't assign this as homework for you, Jake, but I think Pokemon 2000 was better than Pokemon the first movie. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna disagree.
I
I'm gonna
could
disagree.
not.
Sorry, go.
Yeah.
Go. Sorry, go. I'm sorry.
I disagree as
disagree.
well. I disagree as well.
Oh,
I watched
no.
this movie twice in the past week, and it could not retain my attention. And I don't know if it's just the nostalgic attachment to the first movie. And I did watch this 2000 when it came out in
Mhm.
theaters, but I don't know. I think the story's a little more lacking. First one's much more compelling, in my opinion.
All right, Jake. Why do you say it? Same reasons, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, similar reason to Evan. I feel like the narrative for the first movie, right? Like the whole culmination of the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It's what you do with the gift of life that counts, right?
Ooh.
Where's that line?
Okay.
Where's that line?
All right.
Pokemon 2000?
No, you guys have.
Because
You've changed me. You've changed
Okay,
me. You
yeah,
sold
and,
me.
and then like Ash, you're the chosen one. That's just it.
That's-
That's just it. And it's cool. It's cool. Ash, you're the chosen one. But like, why? No reason.
This is gonna be
You're
into
just the
my question.
chosen
Yeah,
What does that entail?
I-
What are the job qualifications?
she
What boxes did he
definitely
check?
randomly picked him, and then it just happened to work out. Oh my god, I just happened to pick the actual chosen one. So I agree. There were no metrics. There was no scale. Like, it wasn't because he was the most pure of heart, like best friendship to Pokemon. There was none of that. So you guys actually convinced me. I just feel like I was so enthralled with this movie from start to finish. The battles, like,
Yeah.
it was a lot more simple. I'm definitely going to give you that,
Mhm.
but I feel like maybe because it was so simple, that's part of what I appreciated. I was like, yeah, this is easy to follow. Like the
Yeah.
bad guy, I was expecting more from the bad guy. I was like, what's his motivation here? And he's like, I'm a collector. Never got anything past.
Nothing.
I love how they show him. Part of his villain origin story is he's got the Mew card that was
Mhm.
a promotional item
Wait.
for the first movie.
That
And
was
so,
cool.
like, makes it feel more
Yes.
valuable to you. No resale
That was
value.
cool. That
Yup.
was cool. He's like, I started with a Mew card. I was like, I have that card too.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
he's really cool. Like, he's really cool. He's just not in it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
where'd he go? And then, like, I was literally thinking, like, where'd he go? And then in the third act, Ash is riding back on Lugia. He's like, all right, let me send out some of more of these, like, black diamond things. And then, like, no resolution. No
There
resolution.
was no
at all.
resolution to
He's
him.
like, he's just like, drat. You know what I mean? And that was kind of it.
Yeah, that is fair. I will give you guys this. You're bringing up all some really great points here as to why one is better. Okay. With Pokemon the year 2000, interesting note. In Japan, it released in 1999, not the year 2000. So
Was it close, though? Was it close?
Uh,
no,
I
no,
wanna
was it close?
now I gotta check. Hold on.
No, I gotta-
just had it up.
Released
not
July
close. Japan,
1999
July
in
17th.
Japan. Yeah.
So they were preparing for the U.S. release date, which was in July of 2000.
Before we go much further, quick synopsis from Letterboxd. When Lawrence III's scheme to capture the legendary Pokemon Lugia upsets the balance of nature, it is up to Ash Ketchum and his friends to save the world. Tomato meter score of 19%, audience score of 56, and the 19% isn't that far off. It might be better than the first movie
think it's
got
better than
on
the
Rotten
first one,
Tomatoes.
yeah.
On Letterboxd, it's got a compiled score of 3.2 stars out of 5. It made, I think financially it was a success. Budget of 30 million, box office take of 133.9 million. So not unsuccessful, but didn't sort of escape the criticisms and poor ratings that its predecessor had.
Definitely understand that
Mhm.
rating. I'm glad about the audience rating. That probably feels more in line with what the movie should be. So we're going to start off here. We are in the Orange Islands. If you remember the Pokemon anime, after Kanto, they go to the Orange Islands, and it is Ash, Misty, and then this is the first thing I want to talk about with you guys, Tracy. And Tracy is sort of in this movie. So when Pokemon left Kanto and went to the Orange Islands, they replaced Brock with Tracy. Now, as a kid, I didn't think much of this. They're adventuring. People come, people go. It happens. But as an adult, I'm like, why did this happen? Do you guys have any idea why they replaced Brock and then eventually brought Brock back?
I
Like
yeah.
in story? I don't know.
No, not in
He's-
story. No,
He was
like
chasing tail. I don't know.
he
Yeah.
was. That's
I was
Jake-
like, I feel like Tracy was gonna be the guy. They wanted Tracy to be the guy, but then he just
They
did literally nothing. For the comedy Brock, like, okay, number one,
Yeah.
Brock's funny. Like, Brock's funny, just from like a
Yes.
TV perspective. Like the whole him, like Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, and any woman that walks on screen other than Misty. All right, like there's the comedy there, but then the utility, additionally, of Brock is that Brock is a cook. Brock
Yeah.
is basically the doctor
Oh,
on the
yeah.
team. Right? I know he
Yes.
becomes a doctor later in the anime, but like he takes care of everything. You know what I mean? I don't remember if Tracy did that, but I feel like they're like Tracy has Meryl.
Tracy. He was a drug.
That's
They
it.
loved Meryl.
Tracy
I think
has
they
Meryl.
they wanted Meryl to be the new Pikachu, I think, at
Yeah.
one point. And so they were like, Tracy's got a Meryl, that's his Pokemon.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I
Yeah.
remember as a kid, I liked Tracy. I don't think I liked him as
Yeah.
much as Brock, but I liked Tracy. But man, in this movie, he did nothing. He
Yeah.
Pulled the rope.
barely had any lines. He pulled the rope.
He pulled
but
the rope.
so
I was like thinking that.
I did some research because I was really curious what happened. What was the reason they replaced Brock with Tracy? And what they said is network execs thought as the globalization of Pokemon began, like it was really taking off, they were worried Brock would be a bad, negative stereotype for Asians with the eyes. I'm not even kidding. Not even making this up. It has nothing to do with him being super horny all the time. It has nothing to do with that. They were simply weird. And Brock makes a cameo in this one. He's like, in the background of the phone call. And they eventually, when they realized that no one cared, they brought him back in the anime, which is more than you could say for Misty. Misty gets sidelined and eventually never comes back. But they're the original trio, the dynamic will never be beaten, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Tracy's too palatable. Like, Brock's that problematic uncle you have at Thanksgiving who says something a little off color, but he's,
it gets a laugh because you're like, wow, wasn't expecting him to say that. My favorite thing with Brock is that he can like tell the differences between the Nurse Joys and Nurse Jennies. He's like, no, this is the one from Verulian City. Like, obviously not the one from Pewter Town.
Yeah, now that you say it, I feel like every single Ash side character has had like a quirk, right? Like, even if you go to like, like, I mean, the women are definitely like underdone in the series, but if you go to the males, Max jumping on Brock, or then you got Silent was like, he's a Pokemon.
He's good. Yeah,
he had quirks. Like he was eccentric.
He had a personality.
He could also cook, providing utility to the team. And then who was after Clement in science?
Clement was a scientist. Yeah, they always, and then Go is just like, I'm gonna catch every Pokemon there is. They all have a personality, but Tracy, he draws Pokemon. This could have been the way they like made Pokemon Snap. Maybe he did take photos of Pokemon too. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know. You're right. He didn't have that personality, that utility for the team. What was he doing here? He could have not been in this movie and the movie would have been exactly the same.
He could have not been in the series and it doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
For as little as he's in the movie, I may have watched a pirated version and the audio cut out during one of his only lines while they're in the floating ship and he's like explaining something before Zapdos escapes and audio cuts
Evan's
out.
like,
damn.
That's one of his 3 lines and they cut
Could
it.
have gotten to know him so much better.
I remember like the coolest thing about him wasn't even him. It was like it was the fact that he had Meryl. And then I remember his Scyther being like, I remember like the episode where he got Scyther and his Scyther's like old man Scyther. And it's like, battle ready Scyther. And I was like, oh shoot, it's cool. And like I remembered it because if you look at Scyther, like when they're on the boat in the beginning, like it's scarred up a little bit. Like they kept that from the anime.
He's like Logan of Scythers.
Yes.
Like at the end of his road, he's like, I'm done with all this.
That's a Pokemon movie I'd watch.
Yeah.
Old Ash.
Scyther also super badass as a kid though. So Tracy, they were like, let's work in these new Pokemon that we want and not just have Onyx and Zubat. So
do you think they're trying to set up Scizor?
They should have because he was going into Johto. Yes. They were
that would have made a lot of sense.
You're so right. And they were like, okay, bring Brock back in. We miss his horny ass.
The exec was like, not horny and
we're not focusing on the beauty of these Nurse Joys nearly as often as I would like.
How's the audience gonna know?
Yeah.
You're supposed to like Jasmine, or Whitney.
The execs were like, we have no one to point out how beautiful these women are.
It's just one writer in the writer's room who's like really desperate to bring Brock back. Super horny all the time. All right, we'll do it. Fine.
It did make me realize though, I'm watching One Piece for the first time in my life, and I was like, oh man, Brock is just Sanji. He just cooks and loves women. That's all he does.
Pretty much.
So the movie though, they roll up on this island. We don't know why they're going there, but they roll up to it, and
that's the whole movie.
And they're having a festival.
Happen.
They act like it's an annual festival, but like, I don't think this is happening once a year. Maybe I'm wrong, but so
it seems like a tourist, like it's like
it seems frequent. Yeah,
it did feel like it. Yeah, now that you say that,
luau.
I was fooled as a kid thinking it was a real thing, but it was 100% just like a luau for visitors.
Yeah. Can we just say something? They acted like we were supposed to know the person driving the boat. I had no idea who that was. Who was it? Like, I remember writing it down, like, her name was, like, Carol or something. I'm like, did she, like, drive the boat in the first movie or something? But I'm like, no one's driving the boat. Like, who is
Maybe she was in the Orange Islands. I have no idea, but they did act like...
So.
They acted like we knew her. So they were like,
Yeah.
thanks, we're gonna miss you. It's been so long. We're like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
But they roll up, and this is my favorite part of the whole thing is there's one kid their age on the whole island as she meets him, and it's not lost on me. She's really cool. She plays that ocarina, like Ocarina of Time. But it's not lost on me at all that her name is Melody and she plays music.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like trying to tie in the interest of Ocarina of Time, or like get those Google search keyword results?
Yeah. Well, no, it probably was. I don't know when the Ocarina of
Capitalizing
Time
off
was,
that?
but it probably was like, oh, kids
90s.
love this shit. Throw it in there.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
So it came out.
That's a great
It came
one.
out 98, November of 98.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was
yeah.
in production. It was in
Oh,
production.
yeah.
Ocarina's are
They
If not,
someone
the
was
range.
playing that in the room, and they were
Yeah.
like, throw this shit in there. Give Melody
Yeah.
one of these.
I will say, you know what I will say is a positive for this movie? The soundtrack, I think, like the score is really good. Is
Way better
really
than
good.
the first one. The first one had
Yes.
music that was so out of place that takes you out of the moment. This music, you're right, was very good.
Brother, my brother.
That's the
When they roll up to the island, though, one of my favorite line in the movie is like a background like write-off joke. Someone in the background is saying the punchline is, then she says, no, I have crabbies. Ha 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 ha. Like an SDI joke. I was like,
okay. This movie pushed the line.
I like that.
Yes.
I
Like
like that.
this
It was funny.
this
Or
movie
tried.
was funny with the humor. They 4Kids animation or the dub was like, we're gonna go hard on these jokes.
Yep.
And I know they used it in the sense they were referring to like gender of people, but they said sex 3 times in the movie, and it was very jarring coming out of Team Rocket's
Yeah.
mouth.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I
And
remember
you
being
know,
a kid,
second
bro.
grade, your ass is giggling like, oh, they said sex. You guys were talking about the boat driver and how like we don't know who that is, and this is maybe one of my criticisms with the entire movie is like none of the relationships, any of the interpersonal relationships matter whatsoever.
At all.
Other than the existing cast is like they just meet people and they're like, okay, now you got to go here. All right, taking a boat there, going here. Also, similar to the first movie, a central part of the plot is getting caught in a storm on a boat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's in the third movie.
That's so funny. It's true. Like, what I imagine someone was like, all right, they're adventuring. What's the most dangerous thing that could happen? They're like, storm in a boat.
Boats.
Yeah. Whew, okay. That is a really funny point. But so they do pull up, and Melody's like, we're doing our festival, and like, you're gonna be the chosen one this year. And there's like some weird tension, and Misty gets jealous. And like I said, Tracy could be taken out of this movie and it'd be exactly the same. Misty's almost there. If it weren't for like the hinges of jealousy and romance, Misty could also not be in this movie.
As soon as you meet Melody, did she say anything that wasn't related to that Melody her dynamic? Because it's so dumb. Like it bothered me every
Yeah.
time it came up. I'm like,
Yeah.
I could literally tell you exactly what she's gonna say every single time. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't any nuance to it at all. And I understand it's Pokemon and it's for kids, but there was like it was
I
bad.
agree. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Misty, I remember being in love with Misty as a kid. I was like, she's a strong, independent woman. This whole movie was just her simping over Ash.
And she's probably the most useful person in this movie because she has
Yeah.
all the water Pokemon. Did a water Pokemon even come out when they were on the dude's ship and they were trying? Did she send out her Pokemon at that time? Where was
they
Staryu?
they sent them out at one point. It may have just been in the beginning. I don't know about, because I remember seeing a bunch of like Gyarados and Staryu, but they were like flocking from
Yeah.
all over the earth to this event.
Mhm.
So I don't
No,
know
no,
if
but
she
I'm
sent
saying-
out her Pokemon here, but she did at one point. She touted her water skills, and she did swim out and save Ash from the water at one point. So that was a good damsel in distress role reversal there.
Where
When
was Staryu?
she-
Where was Staryu? Where was Staryu?
I love Staryu. I'm a
Where
big
was I do
Staryu
too.
Star
Where
Me
was it?
fan. Hiya! Like, hiya!
Yeah.
Like, that is such a funny Pokemon
no
sound.
explanation. No explanation. None.
We needed a couple more hayas in there for my
Uh-huh.
liking.
So you guys said Misty leaves the show eventually. I feel like I vaguely recall it. Does she go to be the gym leader?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm,
She's got to take up
Okay.
the mantle of her gym, which
Good
is
for her.
understandable. It's the family business. Someone's got to do it. And that's when they meet May and Max, which the voice of Melody in this movie is the voice of Max in Pokemon Advancement, or when he comes and joins them in Hoenn.
Yeah.
super interesting to me because the whole time I'm like, how do I know this voice? Whose voice is this? And it's just a voice they use later on. The voice actor is also known for playing Taya Gardner in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you ever watched that. So the whole time it's just pinging in my head. I was like, who is this voice?
So they're just like not experienced in playing useful characters at all?
No. Oh, yeah, Taya's the
I don't
ultimate
think any of those
cheerleader.
characters use-
So is Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
Melody's got some good support here at the end
Yeah.
with her. She's like a bard, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. Evan and I are wannabe movie critics. We're also wannabe chefs.
We're all doing more cooking at home now. If you want to elevate your home cooking, you need nice tools to do it. Louis Kitchenware will get you there. They have beautiful stainless steel pans, non-stick bakeware, knives, all the stuff you need. Safe, high-quality materials, constructed to last, made in the United States, founded in Detroit.
Moving into my condo, we got hand-me-downs. So this new Louis Kitchenware has been great, and we love the discount. We want to share that with our listeners.
You can use code 2DUDES, that's TWO dudes, at louiskitchenware.com, and that'll give you 10% off anything on the site.
Check out our link in bio.
Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
So essentially what starts to, we think is like a local hokey custom village tradition, turns out they're like, we really need the chosen one now more than ever. So Lawrence the Third, which I absolutely love, the only way to imply that he's evil and rich, they just add the third, and he's got and another thing in Pokemon that is just so great to me is they were like, this guy's so rich, he's just got a floating fucking fortress.
It's cool. It's cool. That thing is sick. Like, it's
like,
so like,
how do you get this off the ground? The U.S. government is shooting that down the minute they see it. I guess not in the Pokemon world. Excuse me, I gotta remember where I'm at.
They don't have jurisdiction in Johto or wherever they're at.
Yeah, it is sick though. As a kid, I remember being like, well, that is the peak of luxury. I need to get rich enough to have a flying fortress where I can capture Pokemon in.
yes.
I think one of the great tragedies of this film, that might be a touch dramatic, but is that it sets up, the first couple minutes set up a pretty intriguing story to unfold, and then just it's like super paint by numbers. They don't go any further into the mythology of the three birds. They just have their own little islands they roost on, and then they're gonna fight, and we don't know why they're fighting.
Do not upset the balance of fire, ice, and lightning.
Yeah, but it's this whole
why?
movie is just like a chase the MacGuffin the whole
Which
time.
is your favorite,
Get-
Yeah.
right, Evan?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Can we all agree that Slow King was probably the best part?
Yeah.
Slow King is the best part.
He killed every line. Okay, look.
Every line.
One plus, I'm putting myself back in my 6-year-old brain watching this movie in
Yep.
the year 2000. This movie has the highest number count of talking Pokemon, and Slowking being the coolest one of them all. Huge plus in my book. 2, Slowking is a new Pokemon we've never seen, and I love Slowbro. I really think Slowking should just be the third evolution. It's really kind of bogus in my opinion.
Is
Third,
he a different Poke?
he's a split evolution
Split,
line. You can do
oh,
Slowpoke into
okay.
Slowking, which he's so cool. He's got a crown and he just talks and
Yeah.
he's all there's like a weird number of Pokemon that they love to capitalize that are just super lazy. And I'm like all about that. I don't know why. There's like the Slowbros, Snorlax, Slacking.
Yeah.
They love it. It's a great trope. And then just like the fights, like we haven't gotten into the legendary
Yeah.
birds, but when they're all beefing, oh, I'm on
That's
the
cool.
edge of my seat the whole time.
And Lugia
Okay.
is really cool. Like
Yes.
Lugia is
Dope as
just
fuck.
a great
Okay.
great thing to get you hyped for like the next games, right? Because it just looks
Oh, Evan had it
Yeah.
ready to go. That is sick.
Bad investment. I didn't love this movie.
How is that about it? That seems like a very good investment.
He's kidding.
Yeah,
That is
I know.
Lugia is the cool. So what I love about this, and I guess this is a fine time to ask. This introduces us to the 3 legendary birds: Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, and it's like
Yes.
Lugia is the king of them all. You don't think they could have done one Ho-Ho cameo? Like he's in the
Yeah.
mix somewhere here. What's his role in all
he
this?
started this.
He
That's,
did start this in the very first episode of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
They should
Yeah.
have, when the skies cleared, he should have just like been flying at the end over the clear skies in a rainbow. Missed
Yeah.
opportunity. Put me in the
Missed
writer's room.
opportunity.
This wasn't planned, right? Like I get like Lugia is like the he's the boss of the birds, and then you have the actual bird that's the boss of the beasts. And like I just feel like there is no way that this was planned. Because then you go on to Pokemon the third movie and like they're just like Entei's the guy, and then you
Entei's
like
the
play
guy
those
now.
games and you're like, oh, they're all kind of the same, but it's like that's not true though, because I just saw Entei stomp out Charizard, you know, like. But like I just don't think it's planned. Like it's because Ho-Oh would not have been
Yeah.
Firefly if that was planned out, right?
Oh,
Because Moltres and
I-
Ho-Oh would not have the same typing. Like it was definitely just a thing where they're
You're
like,
right.
we did this for Pokemon 2000. Shit, we need Ho-Oh to
Yeah.
be.
They're like,
we need
Ho-Ho's our
Ho-Oh,
other
like
one.
Lugia's here. Yeah, we need
Yeah.
Ho-Oh to like try to get here. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
You're so right. You're so right. And I think this is really dumb too. Lugia to me, and it's just because of this movie. It's all because of the writing.
Is
Lugia
the
to me,
Loch Ness monster?
well, yeah, he's kind of the Loch Ness monster. Why is he psychic flying? How does he not have a water
Yeah.
typing in
Yeah.
his bones? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's fine. It is what it is.
Is he one of those that in game could learn surf and fly?
I bet you he could. Yeah, I would imagine.
What was your guys' strategy? Would you load a Pokemon in
Hell,
your party up with those moves?
Yeah,
HM
load it up.
slave, baby.
HM
HM slave.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it. If you want a
course, yeah.
competitive team, you better be doing that. There are sometimes I like force myself because I play Pokemon games quite regularly on
Yeah.
reruns. I
Mhm.
force myself. I'm like, okay, I have to incorporate the HMs into like my normal team. Like I'll set like self rules to it because hell yeah, I'm grabbing like a freaking ferret, even though I do love ferret, or centret, whatever
Yeah.
it's called. I just teach it they can learn surf even. Like if you surf to me is a good HM though, where like you
Yeah.
should teach that to a water Pokemon.
Yeah.
Fly
gotta
also.
be
I
good.
actually think Fly is another one that
Mhm.
should be in your party because it's a unique miss you one turn, hit you the next turn. So those are like two. Strength is another one I'm fine with being in my team. The rest of them though, get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah, cut, rock smash,
Cut.
get rid of
Right.
it. Rock
Flash-
climb was dumb too.
Rock Climb was all right. It was just so unneeded in my opinion.
It's like why? Like,
Same with Waterfall. Like, couldn't this just be surf?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
dude, in Gold and Silver, didn't you have to do surf
And Waterfall.
and
Yep.
Whirlpool?
And
Like-
Whirlpool. It's stupid. It's
Yeah.
stupid. So you in Gold and Silver, you almost need two HM slaves. You need a water one,
Yeah,
and you need like just like a regular one.
Lugia literally learns all of them.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at Lugia's. I'm looking at Lugia's page back, like Gold and Silver, Lugia,
Yeah, I love
Waterfall,
it.
Whirlpool, Strength, Surf,
He-
Fly.
And maybe part of the reason I like this movie so much is I think Lugia could be my favorite legendary of them all.
Yeah.
He's just so cool.
Wow.
His voice was a little not what I expected in the movie. It came out of
Very
nowhere.
intense.
I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, this is weird. But
Shh.
yeah, it was.
You are the chosen one.
It wasn't even that it was too intense. It was kind of sensual. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was like, he's whispering in Ash's ear psychically, and I'm uncomfortable watching it.
I think Pokemon severely misplayed Lugia, right? Because Lugia came in, and Lugia is so strong. Like Lugia looks cool. Lugia
Mhm.
is an amazingly designed Pokemon.
Agreed.
It's sleek. You're like, that is powerful. Like
Hand wings.
the hand wings is sick. This thing is like Pokemon Jesus,
Yeah.
right? And like
yeah.
straight up. But then like I'm looking at like, Pokemon now, and I'm like, I don't give a shit about Lugia anymore. Like, really, you know what I mean? Like, what's it done in the past 20 years?
Yeah, no,
Lugia
you've
needs
got a
to
great
come
point.
back, Like we got like Mewtwo's gotten updates, Mewtwo's gotten different
Mewtwo's
stuff.
got- Yeah,
Give me something to
Lugia needs
Ho-Oh
that.
and Lugia. Like, I think you could do something with Ho-Oh, make it like a fairy type, give like,
Oh,
do
you're
something with
speaking
Lugia,
my
give it like a dragon
language.
something. You know
What
what I
do you-
mean? There's
okay, do you
something
make
we could
Ho-Ho
do.
Fire Fairy? There's no Fire Fairy types. That could be good
I think
for
that would be
Ho-Oh.
perfect. And then, like, what would you do for like Lugia could be Dragon Psychic. You know what I mean?
Lugia
It could
should be
be
Dragon
Psychic type.
Psychic.
I
With
think
those
so
big,
as well.
Big ol' hand
Evan's
wings.
like, it should be
Fighting
throwing
type.
fists.
Dragon fighting, Dragon dancing. Lugia is just like big hands.
He's literally like, square up.
What's going on?
Oh my god. He pulls up, he's like, you birds fighting again? Oh, that's good. Okay, so I agree. I think the missed opportunity with Lugia, it is on par with me. It's like a Mewtwo, and maybe it's just because they're the title Pokemon of the first two movies,
Yeah.
but I like really equate the
Mhm.
two in my head.
Mhm.
So my next question for the room, there's no wrong answers. Of the three birds, which one's your favorite?
I think Zapdos
Great pick.
was the coolest of those three.
Yeah. Jake?
He just looks sweet.
Back in the day, I would have said Articuno, but like when Pokemon Go came out, I was Team Instinct, so I was like
Oh.
Zapdos at that time.
Yeah, I get that. Both good
Yeah.
picks, but you're
Yup.
both wrong. It's Moltres. Come on.
No, it's not, dude. What
Moltres is
in
so
what
sick.
world? In what world, dude?
He's a literal flying bird. His wings are flames. Oh,
Dude,
okay.
Zapdos is
Dude,
the Guy
it's-
Fieri of birds, dude.
It's a Guy Fieri of birds.
Awesome.
Zapdos is sick though. Zapdos would be my second pick. I also actually
Yeah.
think I was Team Instinct back in the day on Pokemon Go.
Mhm.
So, that's funny. But I just love watching Moltres fly. It's so beautiful and majestic. There's no wrong
If we're gonna
answers.
say the new ones,
They're
the
all-
new
oh,
ones, the new
Oh, I don't
Moltres-
think.
the
yeah.
new Moltres. I'm with you.
Yes, the new
There's a
Moltres
new
is.
Moltres.
Yeah,
Oh.
so in Sword and Shield, I really like when they do this. They update old Pokemon to their new forms. And so Articuno is psychic flying.
That one's bad.
Zapdos is still going to be Evan's favorite because
Yeah.
it's fighting flying. It's a bird
Zapdos
that
is
kicks. Zapdos is sick in the new ones, but
Yeah.
the new Moltres is just
Is-
gorgeous. It's dark
my God.
flying. And
Yeah.
it's just I've never seen a Pokemon look like it. So maybe I'm taking that into account. I'll be honest. Maybe because as a kid, I don't think I picked Moltres. I think I picked Zapdos as a kid.
I feel like new Moltres is like we let a fifth grader design it and then had a professional come in and just made it look good.
Just
And
update-
it's like it's awesome. You know what I mean? It's like because like people like
Yeah.
I feel like Pokemon nowadays it's like they're created and like some of them are really cool.
Yeah.
And like I think there's some great modern day Pokemon designs. Like I'm not a Gen 1 or anything like that.
Mhm.
But like Moltres was just like what fifth grader designed this? And I'm like totally into it. And I mean this with the utmost respect. Like it's
great.
just so badass.
Yeah.
It's perfect. They were like, "How can we make this cooler?" They're
This
like,
looks
"Fuck
yeah.
Yes.
dark fire."
Someone just
Yeah.
took
gonna be all
original
black.
legendary birds and put them into ChatGPT and said, make it more Moltres.
Yes.
More Moltres. So I just kept doing
Yep.
that.
That's funny. Yeah, you would like the Zapdos bird, Evan, though, because it runs around and it kicks
looks
people.
awesome.
Or you
Yeah,
looking
it
at
look-
him? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
It looks like
Yeah.
it looks like it could be an evolution of Dodrio.
yeah. Yeah. You got it.
Yeah.
So I've hated Dodrio for many, many years, but I started playing him in Pokemon Unite, and I was like, kind of love Dodrio
or
now.
whatever it's called.
Yeah, he's got
Oh.
Tri Attack.
Yeah.
It's been slept on. Dodrio's been slept on big time. Cause like it's a
Yeah.
like I think it's a sick design personally.
It
Like
is.
I played Dodrio in runs of games they play
Yeah.
Kanto.
See, and
And
I
I like-
haven't, and I'm gonna have to in
have.
the future now. Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
one of
And
the
it can learn
names.
fly, which is useful. You need a Pokemon that can fly.
Yeah.
With
So
what wings? It really makes you think.
that's the funny. No, it's so fast. It just runs and it gains speed. I'm imagining it's using two of its heads as wings.
They explain it in Johto. They
Do
explain
they?
it in Johto.
Okay.
Well, how
because
did what do they do?
Faulkner in the anime has one.
Hmm.
And like Ash like, oh, like how is this a flying type? It doesn't even have wings. And like and it's just like, well, it jumps so high, Ash, and you know, it's a flying type now.
That's great. There, it's a bird. It's a bird, man.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a bird. Like,
One of my favorite things is when you do see Ash like forget things he knows about Pokemon canonically.
oh my god.
Like when he's like someone's like shows him Trico. This is Trico. He's like, is this a water type? And you're like, dude, come on, use your brain.
You fucking had one. Like it's like, all right, like maybe Brock had one.
Yeah.
And you know, I know he didn't use them that much, but when it's
No,
like
he
one
had
he
one.
had,
Yeah.
like you had one of these.
Yeah.
Ash. Perpetually 10. Can you believe he retired this last year?
Is that like a
Honestly, makes you sad.
Timmy Turner like Fairly Odd Parents thing? He wished he was eternally.
He must
young?
have. On Jirachi, he made
Yeah.
the wish. He said, I wish that to be 10 years old forever.
Okay, hear me out.
Um,
This is my pitch for whatever you call this upgraded legendary bird for Lugia. Give give that fucker
Oh.
four
Ooh, yeah.
wings, four hand wings, and like like bandages on him because he's a fighting type.
He wants the fighting type so badly on it. All right, you sold me, Evan. You got your new
I'll give
Lugia.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you make that thing fairy fighting?
Yeah.
You make that thing fairy fighting.
Yep. I'm into it. You
Yep.
guys have sold me. You've sold me. You've sold me.
Mhm.
That is funny. That's good. And then in the movie, though, it's very simple. It's not like there's a whole lot of
Yep.
depth here. Ash has to go to each of these islands as Lawrence the Third is. Once again, in both Pokemon movies, someone has like smarter than a Pokeball technology is what I like to call it. Where like Mewtwo was just auto catching every Pokemon in his Pokeballs. And Lawrence the Third was like, I'm gonna use magnets or whatever. I don't know what he's like.
Yeah.
And he was able to catch everything. It was
Yeah.
it was like, why is everyone not using this?
Mhm. He's it's because he's rich.
Rich.
th-
Rich.
this was another one of my qualms with the movie is like at no point does Ash really stand in direct opposition of Lawrence the Third. He just happens to be in the same place at the same time. He never like takes that stand. It's like, hey, you should stop. I don't know.
Lawrence isn't
Yeah.
even that upset when he loses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, he's
no.
not even that mad.
He just looks at his
he
mute
finds
card.
his mute card and he's like,
Whatever.
all's right in the world. I'm still rich. Yeah.
I can rebuild
Yeah,
my
I'm still,
fortune.
yeah, I'm still rich. Not upset. Like seemingly not upset.
Mhm.
And a huge investment is just blown to bits
His
behind him.
Sky Fortress is destroyed and he's like, on to the next one.
Yep.
Oh, that is funny.
I didn't know
even,
his name. I didn't know his name till this podcast.
Well,
You
I
said
didn't-
Lawrence the Third, and I was like, oh, okay. That was
I don't think they said it. It's only because
They
I'm
did.
reading it. I'm reading it online. He's Lawrence the Third. I do not know. I'm with you, Jake, because when I read it, I go, I didn't know his name was Lawrence. I go, oh, it's Lawrence the Third. Excuse me. Like he corrected me almost. So I don't know he said it, but he was just a nameless villain. And like for that Sky Fortress, he had no employees there. Like, was he running that thing on his own? The whole thing didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No. It
It
was cool, though.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was cool.
sick, though.
He doesn't have any
That was one of the
motivation.
better parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
He doesn't really have a motivation other than wanting to get
I'm a
Lugia.
collector.
Yeah. Ash doesn't have a motivation. He's just being told where to go by Melody. Nobody
By
has
an old
motivations.
poem.
Yeah,
So
there's no driving, propelling thing for anyone.
Ash
in
gets
this
told
movie.
he's the chosen one, and Melody was like, yeah, that was all fake. And then they recite the poem, and they were like, and when this happens, the world will turn to ash, which I remember as a kid being mind blown. What a pun. What a great play on words. I
That's
was like,
It's like when you
and as a,
piece together that the legendary birds are Uno dos tres.
yeah.
How good would it have been if like Misty's side like thing for the movie was her being like, his name's Ash. There's no way it means he's the chosen one. They're talking about literal
Yeah.
Ash coming from destruction and
Yeah.
mayhem.
She's like,
Like
guys,
if that was like the plot line, that would have been really funny.
it's literal
Isn't she the one
destruction
that
in ash.
points it out at the end? Or
She's the
she,
one that's like turns
reassures
to
him?
ash.
Yeah.
Yep. She's the one that points it out to him because she loves him.
Loves Ash. Now, why is it Ash? No reason. It just is.
No reason. In Pokemon the movie, you're right. His friendship with Pikachu was the reason they all get saved. Was Mewtwo had never seen a bond between human and Pokemon like this. Who knows why
Should
he's
we?
the chosen one here?
I want to point out a plot hole.
Yeah.
When Professor Oak is talking to the news about why the world is going to go to shit if like the birds are like upset or whatever, he starts going into like National Geographic or like just becomes some kind of geologist in like hydrothermal dynamics or something. And is like, yeah, so like ice is doing this thing and fire is doing this thing, and then you have electricity that's like
It was
over here, and like you have different amounts, disaster, and everyone's like, oh yeah, no, that yeah. Right,
well, the best
right,
is
right.
he explained it so well with the fire and ice, and the whole time I was like, where's the lightning coming? And he just drew a yellow circle around the current. And I was like, oh, of course, now it's supercharged.
Together.
Oh.
No.
But so the best part of that is they're on this helicopter heading towards the event of the whole world destruction. And I'm like, man, how did Ash's mom get on there? And then the news reporter's like, and who are you, ma'am? And I was like, he had the same question I did.
There was no reason for them to be in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, Oak didn't have to be there at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, if I'm the government of Kanto or
Send
the Orange
Professor
Islands
Oak.
or whatever, I'm like, this guy is like a doctor at a zoo. Why am I calling? You know what I mean? It's like you're like
And-
like if the world was going to shit,
Mhm.
you can revive one person in history to fix it. You're not reviving Charles Darwin. You know what I mean? Like he's not the guy
We
you
need
call. But
Darwin.
that's what they did here.
For this
Yeah.
weather phenomenon disaster. What's even funnier is I saw like a meme recently where it was like, oh, hi, I'm Professor Oak. I've dedicated my whole entire life to studying Pokemon. There's 151 Pokemon. And then they're like, oh, just kidding. There's 200 Pokemon. And now it's like, oh, just kidding. There's over 1,000. I'm not very good at my job. So like, not only is he a zoologist, he's not even
He's a
that
bad
good
one.
at what he does.
Do you think like there was like a follow-up question that we didn't see? And they're like, Professor Oak, we actually saw this one and you said there was only 151. He's like, oh yeah, just left that one out.
Fake
I
I
news.
didn't think it was like
Fake news.
super relevant and like controlled the seas.
Yeah, what about this one that was in the sky? No, don't worry about him. He's
No, no.
recorded.
There's an
He's the-
invasion
yeah,
of new
that one-
Pokemon at the border.
That one? Y'all was talking about Luigi?
Yeah.
And he's been hiding at the bottom of the ocean.
He's been
Where
hiding
fuck
at the
you
bottom of
been?
the ocean. So yeah, it's 152. I just don't tell people it's 152, but I knew that.
I don't want to get your
I knew
hopes
that,
up.
guys. And then Ash is like, "What about this Dawn fan?" He's like, "I knew about that one too, Ash. Oh my God, leave me alone."
It's like it just looks over at Misty and tells me, what the fuck is that?
It's
Fuck
fu-
yeah, the Togepi. Literally, he's like, "I've never seen one of these in my life."
It's that Simpsons episode where Marge teaches Lisa piano, but she's like, you just have to stay one lesson ahead. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
Professor Oak is learning as it comes. I don't know, just the fact that you can turn a movie about a turf war between the three legendary birds so bland and uninteresting is really remarkable to me. It's such a letdown.
Yeah, they never explain why when Moltres is gone, Zapdos is like, "My island now, you son of a
No.
bitch."
The coolest part. Zapdos is just like, I
I'm
don't see no
here.
Articuno out here. I don't see no Moltres here.
It's
Turf.
my island.
My.
My island, I
Like,
guess. And
Was
then-
Zapdos going to take over the world? Like,
yeah, that was
his
Zapdos
plan?
was like, okay, now
Right?
that these birds are gone, I'm king. And so what was really funny is when he does this is Pikachu sends out the tiniest little thunderbolt to hit Zapdos, and then Zapdos just hits him back, and then eventually now they're communicating through this lightning bolt. And Meowth can translate electricity into English for us. Thank God.
Thank God.
What a talented cat.
Yeah.
But we'd miss so much of the plot without Meowth there. So I thought this was an interesting way. We've never seen Pokemon communicate via electric shocks before, but that just goes to the shocking nature of Zapdos, I guess.
Zapdos also probably had the worst noise.
Cry.
Cry.
Yeah.
Awful.
Hold up. What did you guys think was like, this might be a little diversion. What did you guys think was the funniest line?
Oh, no, this
Like,
is
what-
perfect. Yeah, I know
What
mine.
did you guys think was the funniest line? I know mine as well.
Okay. I'll go.
Who's going
I'll
first?
give it offer a second one because I said the Krabbies one earlier.
The Krabby,
I like-
Evan
Okay,
did
yes,
love the
yeah,
Krabby.
you did say the
I
Krabby.
like
Yeah.
Ash going chosen
That was a good
one.
one. That was a good one.
I feel more the frozen one.
There it is. That was beautiful. That's comedy gold because he literally was like, "All right, I'm off. I'm going to go save the world." Cut to, he goes, "Chosen one? Well, I'm more like the frozen one."
And absolutely no one helping him.
And no
And
one's-
absolutely no. The world is going to end, but you know what? I think he's got it. He's the
Yeah.
chosen.
He's got it.
You got it, dude.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah,
I thought the funniest line, I forget what was said to set it up. They're like, Ash, like, how do you, like, it was like right after, like, Missy, oh, the world will turn to Ash. And I forget what exactly was said to set it up. And they're like, Ash, what are you thinking right now? He's like, kind of hoping my name was Bob. And I was just like, it
was like,
just,
"Kinda wish
such
my
a
Bob was
Dawkins
named."
moment. And I'm like, there's no way this was the translation, right? Like, this was an entirely American joke. Not like substitute Japanese name,
Bob.
but like, they're Bob. Like, some American came up with that joke, and it's just so blatantly obvious. Like, it made me laugh. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
it's a great
okay,
translation
okay.
joke because
It's
you're
good,
not
yeah.
expecting it at all. He goes, "Kind of wish my name was Bob right now." So the chosen one, frozen one's pretty good. Bob is also hilarious. Mine is probably at the very end when Team Rocket come up and they're like, "Oh, we helped save the world. Oh, that's good. Oh, but we didn't get Pikachu. That's bad. Oh, but we did do this. That's good. That's bad." And they're like, "Oh, but we'll just steal some money." And James goes, "That's good. Or is that bad?" And I was like, dude, Team Rocket are located so carrying the show comedically.
yeah,
The
yeah.
other great one is
Yeah.
Jesse goes, "All right, if things are going to get ugly, let's try wheezing." Whoa, why the dig at my man wheezing?
Catching strays out here.
oh my God.
It's
Where
funny.
was Arbok? Was Arbok there?
They
Arbok
try
was
him after. They try him one at a
Okay,
time for
okay,
whatever. The power of two Pokemon clearly wouldn't be as good as trying them one at a time. Classic villain strategy.
there. And like, we all know that Snorlax has Hyper Beam. Like, where was that?
He didn't use and that's what pissed me off is I know Ash has the Snorlax, but maybe he's with Oak, maybe he's whatever. They showed him. He popped
he
out
was
of his
there.
he popped out of his Pokeball at
He
the
was there
end.
twice.
Snorlax would have been so helpful on so many of these things. Nah, he's in his ball.
Additionally,
Oh.
when Ash is going across the ice, where was Lapras? It's literally established in the Orange Islands that Lapras is literally faster on ice than it is in the water.
Yeah.
Pretty early on in the Orange
would've-
Islands, I'm pretty sure.
Lapras, unfortunately, would have solved every issue they had in this movie.
Every
of
single
going
one.
to, yeah, so they were like, Lapras is doing Lapras things right now. The other funniest part to me, and this is not one of a line, because there's a ton of really funny lines in the movie, but
Yeah.
it's when they are going to the ice island and everything's frozen over, and he's sledding, and Charizard's pulling, but then also Squirtle and Bulbasaur are pulling, and Pikachu's sitting in the fucking sled, and I was like,
Yeah,
yo,
little bitch.
how does
That
Squirtle
Uncle
and
Tom
Bulbasaur?
motherfucker.
Yeah.
The first thing that happens, like the ice comes up or something gets blasted, Charizard comes back. I think that's the one you leave out. Like, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah. This
Like,
is not-
right? Like, it's like Squirtle and Bulbasaur and Pikachu are sitting there chilling. In Charizard, no, you're good, dude. You can't
Yeah.
handle this.
Get back in here. No, you're so right. There's a lot of questionable decisions. I don't know how Ash ever becomes a Pokemon master, because man, is he dumb sometimes.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Ditching
It was
all your
bad.
strongest Pokemon at seasonally. Dumb move.
Wait, can we talk about the plane? Not the plane. The boat that they treated like a plane.
Oh.
How the boat got up a mountain because it had a sail.
And then she whips up the sail, and they were like, I didn't know this could sail on land if you know how. And Melody just starts sailing up the island.
Yeah.
She's done this before.
As a kid, I was like, makes sense to me
Dope.
if the wind's strong enough. That
Yeah, you
bottom of
gotta
that
see it.
boat is fucking destroyed going up there.
Yeah. So I mean,
Too funny.
I wonder if either of you can explain this part to me. The three birds break out of the Sky Fortress and immediately gang up on Lugia.
Lugia's-
Why?
Trying to stop the fighting. Once
Dude,
we
it's coming for its turf.
Okay.
hit
I
Lugia,
think it was the turf one more than
Lugia
anything.
is like,
Okay.
everyone go back to their own islands. The birds are like, no, these are my 3 islands now.
Okay. All right.
So this is kind of like a gang war, and Lugia was the police, and they were
Yes.
just all like,
100%. That is, yeah. I was thinking
We
it
are
was
the
like mom
common
and
enemy.
dad.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're fighting amongst your siblings, and then mom steps in, and you're like, "Get out of here, mom! We're fine." People are bleeding, stabbing each other, and we're like, "We'll settle it ourselves." I was reading on Wikipedia. We don't before we get to the end of this movie because there's, like we said, not a ton here. I was reading this movie was up for what
The
is it called?
Stinkers
It's the
Bad Award.
Stinkers Worst Movie of the Year award, and it lost to Digimon.
Wait, watch Digimon movie though.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let
Actually,
me
they're all
hold
pretty bad.
on. Yeah,
Probably beats
The
regardless.
U.S. The first U.S.
the first U.S. one, Digimon the movie,
theatrical release.
also came out the year
The
2000, and so it's
Omnimon one.
yes,
Oh, they fight Tiabormon.
Yeah,
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 whatever it is.
it's
You know
it's a
what's up.
mess of a movie, but we
It's
covered
not
it. We
good.
had a good time though. We had a good time
It's a
talking
great
about
movie.
it.
I think it was awesome.
Evan loved it, and
I
so
loved
it's funny because you say Pokemon Lost sounds like a bad thing, but it's good. It didn't win the Stinkers Bad Movie of the Year award. Do you guys think they should bring back the Stinkers Bad Movie of the Year award?
No, because I'm just imagining like the wave of BO that hits you when you walk into that ceremony. Like
Stinkers.
who is organizing? Who's attending the Stinkers Bad
Yeah, I don't know.
Movie Award?
It ended in 2006, so it didn't.
Yeah.
Man, but it started in 1978. Wow, I'm learning a
Wow.
lot here. I didn't know that. Okay. They called it the remake or sequel that nobody was clamoring for, which
Mm.
is not attuned to the Pokemon craze that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
No,
Kids were asking.
not at all.
I was begging. I wanted a Lugia card, like they gave us a Mew one. I felt kind of robbed. I didn't get one, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you guys hear about the political significance of this the song of from
No.
this movie?
No, tell me what
I
happened.
know,
So this
but
was
yeah.
I only knew because I'm like a big Jon Stewart fan, and I know Jon Stewart roasted it back in the day. So I tried to look up the clip yesterday, but I couldn't find it. I know it exists somewhere, but I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for this movie now. And Herman Cain, famously back in 2011, quoted the main song from this movie, "The Power of One,"
The power of
performed by
Adonis.
Donna Summer, and I like forget what happened, but like he quoted it, and then Jon Stewart just rips him,
And
and it was an
yeah.
amazing time.
I do vaguely remember this now that you say that. That is really funny. When what do you think's that worse? Herman Cain doing that, or Hillary saying "Let's Pokemon go" to
Pokemon
the
Go.
polls?
I think Hillary, because Herman Cain at least had the decency to try and play it off like it wasn't from Pokemon.
You think so? That's
Yeah.
more okay?
Yeah.
Wow, Jake, is it weird that Pokemon made its way into politics before it ever did Survivor? How did that happen?
Wow.
We've
Dude,
had 2 seasons in a row, though, of Pokemon mentions on Survivor. You think we could go 3 for 3?
I would hope so. One of the biggest disappointments from my season was not the fact that I lost, is that everyone else got a Pokemon reference other than me.
Yeah,
Like,
no, they didn't. Even D was talking about Pokemon. I was
yeah,
like,
he got
damn
something.
God damn.
And like Jeff is just sitting there acting like he knows exactly what she's talking about. He might. I don't know how big of a Pokemon
I
fan Jeff is.
promise
Maybe
you,
he'd
Jeff
surprise
has
us.
no clue. He calls them Pokemons.
He pulls a Mew
Dude,
card out of his
I
cargo
feel like
pants
he's a
pocket.
Pokemon.
He's like, I'm a collector. You didn't know? Oh, that's good. That's funny. Oh.
Next season, there's going to be 3 castaway islands or exile islands where you have to go collect
Moltres,
crystals
yeah.
or whatever.
I love the crystals too, though. I think it's something about like the hand. Like I want a Pokeball, but then also I was like, I want to hold one of these fucking crystals Ash has.
Oh,
right now.
yeah.
Just
Yup.
I want to hold it in my hands, feel what it feels like.
Yup.
Yeah. But okay, yeah, the movie ends. I mean, Ash gets the 3 crystals. Melody sings the song. It does something to Lugia, and the war stops.
Does it resuscitate him? Because doesn't
Oh,
Lugia
yeah, he
admit
falls.
defeat? He falls into the water. I forgot how to swim. I
I
guess.
forgot how to swim.
Forgot how to swim.
But yeah, it all works out in the end. I guess.
Yeah, it was the ocarina, and it was
Mm.
the friendships we made along the way. I think never see Melody or her people again.
You know the most unrealistic thing about
What?
Pokemon movies 1 and 2? Ash
What?
doesn't even try to slip a little Pokeball on Lugia while he's riding him.
Yeah, what do you do?
Try
None of
this real quick. Yeah,
No, check out the inside. It's pretty cool.
I think that's supposed to be like he's different
It's
than
his
other
respect.
trainers.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not
Yeah,
after
yeah.
the fame, the clout, the power. He's in it for the friendships of Pokemon.
Not to catch them all.
Yeah.
Not to be able to
Actively
catch 'em all.
not catching him all.
act. Yeah, that is true. He
Yeah.
actively is not trying to catch them all.
Like what in the original Kano, what does he catch? Like 8?
Yes, it's not many. It's
I
not
know he
many
catches
at
a
all.
couple more.
Yeah.
Then in later ones, but like he catches like
Yeah. His
if
Pokedex
you want
is
to count
not
like the different
popping off.
evolutions.
No, his Pokedex is
No.
not great. Oak was like, man, I gave you one job and you are doing pretty bad. Pretty,
That-
pretty bad.
That's why Oak only knows the 151. He picks the worst kids to go out.
He's like,
and
my
do it."
kids aren't getting me the right info. What the fuck?
Like, Oak, this is a job
Dude,
for
I think like he
professionals.
comes back. Oh my god, like he comes back just being like, I gave you a free Pokemon, a free handheld computer, and Squirtle's been sitting here being a Squirtle for the last 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't think to evolve this guy? That is one thing that bugs me is Ash's Pokemon are so strong. Why don't they evolve? Pikachu, I understand, needs the stone, but like Squirtle is taking on people in the Elite Four. Like, he should
Yeah.
be evolved.
Yeah. Is Charizard one of the few?
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
It's probably 1 to 2 Pokemon a season he fully evolves.
He did
Or
really
not a
good
season,
in
a
the
series.
Sinnoh one. In
Sinnoh,
the Sinnoh one, he did a
he,
lot.
he starts getting, I mean,
Outside of that,
one thing I do appreciate about the Pokemon anime is if you look at it from a macro sense, he does actually improve as the series goes on. His win rate is pretty trash to begin with, and he starts getting better and better.
Yeah.
He learns things that he like takes on, and so he comes in second a bunch before he actually becomes a champion of a region. And then when he becomes the champion after that, then he becomes Pokemon Master of the world
Yeah.
in the Masters
did
tournament.
you guys watch like that fight, like that final fight?
I
where
just
he
watched the
becomes, like,
fights.
Pokemon
Yeah,
Master
yeah. I
of
watched the
world?
fights.
Like I don't know, I didn't watch the series either, but
Me
like
neither.
it's like Pikachu versus Charizard, and it's like, damn, like they put some money behind this
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, if you didn't know already, you'd be like, oh shit, this is Ash's finale. This is one of the best Pokemon fights I've ever
Yeah.
seen. And it's between like 2 of the classic flagship Pokemon of the
Yeah.
series. So it's a great fight to watch. It's really good. The whole thing, we should have seen that Ash was retiring because he was catching all-time Pokemon. He had a Gengar this season.
Yeah.
He had a Dragonite. He had a Lucario. Like, oh shit, Ash's team is stacked right now. You're like, these are all my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, they gave him like a 1 resident new Pokemon
Yeah.
in Farfetch.
Yep.
Wow.
The,
the new
yeah, the
Farfetch?
Surfetched. He's got the big
The
sword.
Surfetched,
yeah,
yeah.
I love it.
that guy. That guy's
Yeah,
dope as
It's
hell.
great. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, but so I mean, Ash ends this movie, and the other great thing, to your guys' point, he didn't learn anything.
Didn't get memory wiped this time.
Why would he?
But there was no lesson. What did he?
Yeah.
He didn't take away from this. Man, I need to treat my mom better or something. Like there was nothing.
There was no message in this.
There was no
like, there's some
message.
weird. You could maybe imply something environmental,
Like destiny. Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, protect the
balance,
environment.
but they really leave all stones unturned in this movie. It's,
Well, that's not true because Herman Cain clearly proved that false, right?
yeah. Apologies.
Excuse us.
Sorry,
Herman
Herbie.
Cain picked up where Pokemon 2000
Yeah.
left off. He continued the legacy all these years later.
Oh, man.
Lugia shedding a tear at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
I will say, Slow King with the fourth wall break at the end.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like. Slow King's the best part of the movie. Everyone knows what you're about, guys.
Everyone's
Or whatever he says. I forget.
Yeah.
It's great. It
No,
is
it's
so
great.
good. I think Team Rocket also breaks the wall at some point. They were like, double trouble. And Ash is like, I'm going to have to skip that movie or whatever. And they're like, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's fun. It's clever. Like I said, this is not. I'm really glad I rewatched it now. Like I don't know when I would have watched it again. I had a fun time, but like I'm not clamoring to throw it back on in a couple weeks again. I had a
sure.
good time. I had my fill, and I feel like I got my Pokemon fix for the weekend.
If you need to record a podcast remotely, Riverside.fm is the place to do it. Alex and I have been making Two Dudes Watch Cartoons remotely across states, pretty much across the continental U.S. for 3 years now. We've tried several things, and this is what works best, honestly.
Zoom turned out terrible. We used a couple other ones that we paid for that turned out terrible.
You're looking at the interface right now. I think I'm doing the screen record correctly.
Riverside has made doing this podcast as easy as possible. Riverside FM
Head to the link in our bio to get started. That's riverside.fm.
today.
Today.
It was worse than I remember, to be honest.
That's what we're here for. This is
Totally.
what we like to talk about.
To be honest.
For sure.
Yeah, that's Evan. I think Evan probably feels a bit of the same way.
Yeah.
Or you watched it live too? You said.
I watched it
Yeah.
back in the day as a kid, and it definitely strikes me as a movie that is better served as a nostalgic memory than one to revisit, because there's not much at all. I think we should take a look at a couple letterbox reviews, and while
Let's do
we're
it.
reading through a couple of these,
Yeah.
Jake, we're gonna look at these, and then we're gonna kind of go through
Do-
our closing thoughts on the
Closing
movie
thoughts.
and give it, a 1 to 5 star rating. First one.
You start us off, Evan.
Yeah, this is a 1.5 star review by David Lunch. Jake, you might like this. He says, "It's good to see Articuno getting work. He is just a bluebird."
That's good. I also have 1.5 stars here from John. I made my mom go see this when I was a child, and I apologized formally today.
I can't imagine watching this as a parent not knowing what Pokemon is, because there's that. Kudos to parents who took their children to see this.
Yeah, because this is not like a Shrek where you're watching and you're like, oh, I'm kind of enjoying this. Is
Yeah.
funny. Like this, you just tuned out. Cell phone. Parents would be on their cell phones if they had them back in the day.
You know they're getting to the line about the sexes, and like parents are like, "Fuck!" Now I gotta go explain
I
what
gotta
that
talk
is.
with their fucking.
I gotta like
I now know.
draw the line between like the action and like
Uh-huh.
the sexes. You know what I mean?
Hey, animals. These birds fighting. Totally fine. Don't say sex.
Yeah. I now know why my dad slept through so many movies in the theaters as a kid. This one is actually a pretty generous score. It's 5 stars. If you think about it, this movie is kind of the original Angry Birds.
Ooh, that's good.
Was that a good movie though? Did you guys watch that?
No,
haven't
not
seen
at
it.
all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I feel like on paper I'd rather see this.
Yeah. I would bet it's better than this movie.
Half star. Turns out being 8 years old makes movies really good.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's about where I land, I think, for the my thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, start us off.
I think, the Rotten Tomatoes score, the audience and critics score gets it right. This is not that fun of a movie. It's cool to see Lugia in action. It would be even cooler to know why any of those actions are happening. What's behind that? It would be cool to have like some plot and motivation packaged into this. But you know, I'm hopeful that Pokemon the third movie is better
It's gonna
than
hold up
as I
better.
remember. Yeah, because I remember loving
Don't-
I love the third
Yeah.
movie.
Oh,
I
I'm
love
excited.
the
I
third
haven't
one.
revisited. See, what's really nice about this that we're doing, and granted, we're doing it over a long course of time, but I have not seen these since I was young. I have like such
Same.
fond memories
Yeah.
of them from when I was young, and I watched them all the time. But I didn't like revisit them in college or like
Yeah.
even like I never got around to watching them again, and so it's been fun doing that. But so yeah, you can sorry finish your thoughts, Evan. If
That's it. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with this movie. I can't even pontificate on why this movie is bad. It's just so nothing. This movie was so
Yeah.
and so I will give it a 2 stars, and that feels generous out of 5.
that feels good.
just
I didn't even think
on,
you'd get there. I didn't
you
think
know.
you'd get there. So.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go over my closing thoughts, then we'll let Jake finish this off here. For me, while it definitely did not hold up to my 6-year-old standards, I still enjoyed the ride. I definitely was disappointed because, like Evan said, there's just not anything here for this movie. I think if you look at this as a longer episode of Pokemon, it's
banging.
brilliant. It's great. It's
awesome.
brilliant. It's just a long episode and it's great. But as a movie, there's really not a whole lot there where it's not like it was short for time. Like they could have added more of the lore, why, just simple things that I think would have contributed. Even making it an environmental message, I think actually, like if you lean into that more, I really think could have helped the movie. So while I enjoyed the birds, the Lugia, the fighting, the jokes, I had a good time watching it. It is not like a movie where I'm sitting here praising it as cinematic masterpiece. So, much like Evan, I am going to be giving it 2.5 stars, and that feels pretty generous also.
Yeah, in my honestly, this movie was worse than I remembered it. To be honest, like I remember like being a kid and like thinking about the first couple movies and being distinctly, it's like, okay, Lugia is really cool. Like
Uh-huh.
we
Oh, yeah.
compare the title Pokemon, Lugia is probably the top.
Mhm.
Agreed.
But as far as the movie itself goes, I remember always wanted to watch the first one and the third one. And even as a kid, like in my mind, like, yeah, you get the birds fighting and they're all like blasting beams at each other and stuff. Like there's no Pokemon battles. Like that was something I really liked about the first one is like
Ooh.
you got the Pokemon battles that are going up against each other,
You're
Charizard
right.
versus Charizard, Mew versus Mewtwo. Or if you go to the third movie, like Charizard versus Entei, or like Stampy just tosses Onyx somewhere in there. And it's like you get that those Pokemon moments. And like even at the beginning of the movie, it's like if you go to the first or third movie, there's a Pokemon battle at the
Yeah,
beginning.
there wasn't in
So
this
it's like
one.
it like I remember even as a kid being like it felt like those parts lacking.
Yeah.
Now I do think that this movie is, if I'm remembering correctly, and I haven't seen the other ones in a while, is more funny than the other Pokemon movies.
I agree.
I would say like the dub really tried to like, are they hilarious jokes? No, but it's like
They catch-
Pokemon cheese,
They
and it's
catch you
solid
off.
Pokemon cheese.
I call them
Yeah.
translation jokes.
Yeah.
An American
Of
writer had to
course.
be like, well, I could do something funny right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I would say at the end of the day, it's a 2. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's a Pokemon 2, probably like a movie 1.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
No, that makes
For sure.
and
sense.
it's and then you like, yeah, there's I was just like, shit, I was kind of disappointed. You know what I mean? It's
Uh,
like you want it to be better than it actually is because it does have that grand scale.
It
Mhm.
does.
The scale is cool.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think more we're talking about this, though, no Pokemon battles hurts it. I'm a battle guy. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I think what also always disappointed me as a kid was this is not where you find Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno in the games.
Yeah.
Like in Kanto, they're all spread out in different locations, and I'm like,
Different caves.
where are
Yeah.
these islands that I was
Yeah.
told I needed to go to? So that would always disappoint me too as a fan of the games, because I guess the Mewtwo one doesn't necessarily follow that either. Like there's not an island, but like wasn't rewriting the whole map of Pokemon, I feel like, to make your movie work. So
Stickler for geography.
I'm a stickler for
And the song, this theme song was worse. They played "We All Live in Pokemon World," which is the
Mhm.
Orange Island's theme song, It's worse than the actual one from the show.
It wasn't as good. I
Like,
noticed.
they
I
don't
had
improve upon
I
it.
had to go listen to the original one because I was like, I thought this was a banger, and the original
It
is
is.
a banger.
Mhm.
This version they did was not the
Yeah.
banging version. You're right,
No.
No.
Jake. When you're right, you're right.
Although
Okay.
it is a pretty
Well-
impressive, not as impressive as the first movie's soundtrack. They've got "The Power of One" by Donna Summer.
That's
They
what.
also
Yeah,
have-
the soundtrack was great.
they got Dream Street, which was like a boy
Yeah.
band. They've got
That's right.
Weird Al Yankovic, the B-52s, O-Town, another another boy band. I think that's maybe it, but not as stacked as the first movie. But they're recognizable.
The first one had a wild soundtrack, but it was so out of place comparatively. This one really flowed a lot better.
Mhm.
Okay. Couple of general Pokemon questions I want to wrap up here with. What's your favorite Pokemon game, Jake?
Biasing Emerald. But if I'm trying to take biases out,
Oh.
as a game, I think Pokemon Black and White, Black 2 and White 2 are like top tier
Oh.
Pokemon games. Like, especially the story continuation from one to the other.
Yeah.
But, like, I think both of their standalone stories are really good.
Okay.
I think it's like an adequate level of difficulty. And I think the Pokemon that you can get in both games are top tier, even though the status suck. I'm not going to sit here and say they're good status. They're not, but they're great games.
Okay. You addressed my concern. I'm not a fan of the
Alright.
starters in Gen Black and White there, but the rest of those points are really good. I would always say I feel like mine are Heart Gold, Soul Silver. So maybe that's partly why I love this.
Ooh.
I just love Johto. This is like the introduction to
really
Johto. So and no wrong answers there. No wrong answers. Okay, this is a fun one. We got your favorite Pokemon. If you were a gym leader, what type of Pokemon? What Pokemon type you choosing?
Oh, dude. I always said grass type, but after fire making on Survivor, I feel like
Eh?
does that like lock me into being
Let's
on fire?
go.
Does that lock me in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
it
I
should.
feel like I'm a little locked in, and I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I do fire.
I agree. That was look, I'm not gonna lie. I know what the show was showing us was a lot of trip and falls, if you will. I thought you were winning. I really thought you were winning, Jake. And when you won fire, I was like, he's coming in here. He's gonna convince them. Like the fire, I know fire really skews everyone's perspective on who's good and who does what going into the final three. But I was just like, this is just what Jake needed, the cherry on top of his story. And you know what? I'll say it. That jury robbed you. And they did. I was ready for you to win, Jake. Yeah, fire type. You earned it.
Hell
You
yeah.
earned it.
I'll take it.
What's your favorite fire
But no,
Pokemon
Austin
then?
and D are great.
What's oh yes. No,
Ooh.
no, I'm not. I love Austin and D
Blaziken.
also.
Blaziken.
Yeah, great.
Blaziken.
That's a great one. That's your
Blaziken.
ace
Blaziken's
there.
so good.
Yeah.
Those like just Blaziken.
Yeah.
Good in the anime, Charizard fighting Blaziken. They're like, yeah, you can have that one. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh,
Give
shit,
me
that's
that
good.
one that is kicking fire at people. I need that right now.
Yeah, dude, just kicked Charizard in the face. Charizard was like, guy. It's just massively disrespecting Charizard. I'll take that one. Yeah.
It is like a different set of Pokemon skills. You see punching and firing and shooting, and then Blaziken just comes in and is like feet only. Fwapa! Like it's more embarrassing when someone handles you with your
Yeah.
feet. So okay, that's good.
So
That's
good.
good. I approve. I approve. Okay, this is good. I feel like we've learned a lot here, Jake. What any broad scale Pokemon anime games? Any thoughts you feel like you would be doing a disservice to our fans leaving out before we wrap up?
Recommendations. And
Dude, Austin's recommendation. I got Austin's friends with Wolf Glick. I know Austin's friend. That's one of my Pokemon friends.
Whoa!
They were like, a friend of Austin's from college knows Wolf or something like that. You know who Wolf Glick is?
I know who he is. I'm
not
I'm
familiar.
all
He's like a
over
world
social
champion
media.
Pokemon player.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
He,
got like a pretty big YouTube channel
okay,
as well.
Sweet.
he's good. He if you're into competitive Pokemon, he makes it much more approachable for
Okay.
people that are like
Yeah.
maybe starting is a good way to put it.
All right.
That's exciting.
talked
And he's
a lot
just
about
really
Pokemon.
good. He's just really good. Did you
Yeah.
guys talk like a ton of Pokemon out there then, it sounds like, on the island?
Yeah, we definitely did, because as soon as Austin said he like knew Wolf, I was like, I knew who he was immediately.
Yeah.
And like also too, like Drew and I would talk a fair bit about Pokemon as well. Like I said, hey, like something that I was doing in the Sword and Shield era is that I was using Heliolisk and Golurk, because they're just two of my favorite Pokemon. Like I like them a
Ooh.
lot.
Good
And they like
picks.
kind of worked off each other pretty well, because like one's ghost, one's normal, one's ground, one's electric. Like so it's
So they
normal,
have
electric, ground, and ghost.
immunities. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got immunities, right? So something that I do is I do Heliolisk gets this move called Electrify, which, anyone trying to take down Golurk, I just like, Heliolisk is pretty fast. You just use Electrify on any negative incoming moves to Golurk, and it would absolutely be immune.
That's pretty
then,
tricky, Jake. That's
Yup.
good.
That So Drew like went home and he's like, all right, here's how I think you can like optimize that Helios goal. And I was like, yeah, dude, because he's like he did competitive Pokemon
I
as
love it.
well.
That's awesome.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. I mean, there's been 2 mentions on Survivor. There was even a mention of Pokemon on Love is Blind. I just think what's really interesting to me is the cultural swing the pendulum has taken back. It was huge when we were children. And then I don't want to say it died, but like mainstream popularity of Pokemon was really low for a number of years. And something about the last 4 or 5 years, Pokemon has made a huge comeback. It was something about the Pokemon cards again.
Hillary
Maybe that
Clinton.
it was Hillary Clinton.
And Herman Cain.
Hillary Clinton.
Herman
It was
Cain and
US
Hillary Clinton
politics.
made Pokemon cool
Bipartisan
again.
push.
Who was it? Logan Paul's doing that, right?
I was gonna say, I think it was Logan
doing
Paul
that? Yeah,
actually
yeah.
that started the Pokemon card fad again. And I think that really made people be like, yeah, I've been into Pokemon my whole life. What about it?
Then I'd say the Switch too. I feel like the Switch as a system was really
Okay.
beneficial to Pokemon
I think you're
overall
right.
because that like
I saw a graphic where it was like
portability.
Sword and Shield was
Yeah.
like the 3rd highest Pokemon selling game of all time. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I had no idea that it was so popular.
Yeah. It makes sense because like, does the story suck? Are we going to enjoy it? No. Pokemon games back in the day are like, I know like I'm 27 now and I'm not like a 4th grader trying to figure out how to beat like,
The puzzles
a
and
dragon
yeah.
type. Yeah. But like the competitive is much more accessible now
Agreed.
based on the different things in the game. And I think there's the skill cap
Mm.
that's accessible is much more attainable that, probably an older audience looks for versus back in the day. Like if you're
So
playing like
hard to
gold, silver, ruby, sapphire, you got to put in what? Like how many hours you got to put to get one competitive?
even I was going to say even just to beat the game, you're looking at like between like 40, 50 hours, and then to get competitive Pokemon
yeah.
on top of that, you're
Yeah.
putting in way more time. So you're 100% right. The grinding isn't as needed, which makes it easier to play competitively against your friends. What are you a shiny hunter? Are you big into like trying to find shinies?
You know what? I have tried to catch shinies in the past, but I've never like
Jake, I have no success with it.
I have no success.
It's-
Literally, I have put at least because I told you Golurk is one of my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think shiny Golurk is amazing.
Yeah.
It has one of the best shiny designs. I spent over 50 hours looking for shiny Golurk
Nothing.
in Sword and Shield, and I couldn't do it. Like I did all the things, like I got the shiny charm, I did this,
tell
I
you
did
to do
that.
all
Like I
that.
was on
Yep.
the websites. Okay, I got to do this, and then I got to have so many
And I'm
interactions.
saving
Nothing. And I'm just like, whatever, dude.
Mine was Pokemon Legend Arceus. I had friends that were catching multiple shiny Pokemon a day, and they taught me how to do it, and I didn't even run into any. I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was like really discouraging, if I'm being honest. So that's why I always ask people. Some people are like, yeah, I catch a shiny Pokemon. I catch like 6 every week.
You
And I'm
weren't the
like, I haven't
chosen
seen
one.
a shiny. Yeah, I'm not the chosen one like Ash. The world will not turn to Alex.
We turn to Alex.
It will.
Yeah.
Or no, it won't.
Not for shiny Pokemon,
Not
but
for
for other
shiny
things.
Pokemon though. Oh, okay. This is good. This is fun. Jake, Evan, do you have any big news? We're coming up here on time. I forgot about
Nothing
news.
huge. There's a couple. There's one I want to touch on because it is directly related to what we covered today. As
Oh.
of January 26th, The Boy and the Heron surpassed Pokemon the Movie 2000 to
Oh.
become the 3rd highest grossing anime ever released in the U.S. So it follows, number 1 is Pokemon the first movie. That's not surprising. And 2 is Demon Slayer Mugen Train. And that's one
Which
I
is
haven't
pretty
seen.
good.
And so
You
that would
should
put
see it. It's good.
Boy and the Heron at 3 and 4 with Pokemon the Movie 2000.
Wait, is this like not Disney? Is
Uh,
it like not
Anime
Disney
movies.
list?
Anime.
Anime,
Anime. Oh, okay,
specifically.
okay.
Yeah. Japanese. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Makes sense,
And,
yeah.
and sort of
Interesting.
related, these are 2 headlines I saw recently. 3 of the top streamed shows on Max in January were animated shows. They were Scavenger's Reign, My Adventures with Superman, Adventure Time, Fiona Cake, and also the 7 most streamed films last year were all animated. I think Mario, Elemental,
Yeah.
Frozen 2, a couple other ones. But
Mm.
just speaking to the power of animation, why we love this podcast, in a time where animation departments are sort of getting hollowed out and underfunded from the studio machine. And then there was one you sent me, Alex. I don't know if you recall. there is a live action Bob the Builder movie
Yeah.
in the works with Mattel, with Jennifer Lopez. It gets weirder. Jennifer Lopez
Wait, what?
attached as an executive producer,
She's the producer.
starring Anthony Ramos. Is that his?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really weird. Can't wait to see what that's gonna look like. I remember screaming at the TV. Bob's like, "Can we fix it?" And everyone would be like, "No, we can't." And he'd be like, "Yeah, let's go." And you're like, "You dummy, you didn't even hear what I said."
Well, you weren't even in Jennifer Lopez's house, so like, you know, you don't know.
Yeah. I just want to know where Bob was on January 6th.
Yeah, right.
There's got to be like some depressed, one of those photos of like Ben Affleck being like, you know,
Ah,
that's definitely like his face. What was his face when Jennifer Lopez came home and said, Ben, you're not going to
We're
believe
doing
it.
the
Guess what we're
Bob
working on now?
Builder movie.
She
It's gonna
certainly
be
got
so good.
a career. It's an interesting career path. I don't know. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
Those were
Ooh.
two.
Mine
ones
is
I thought
not
might be-
animated news. I'm gonna call it animated adjacent. This Elmo had quite the week in pop culture. He asked how everyone was doing on Twitter and got trauma dumped everyone's horrible life experiences going on at the moment. And if that wasn't bad enough, the day before Elmo's birthday, he got attacked by Larry David on a Good Morning show. Larry David said he couldn't listen to him going on anymore.
If that's not the series finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm, that's the biggest mistake. This better be a stunt.
Well,
because it's so good.
Yeah.
Jake, you're on the
It's
same
so good.
wavelength as me. I said this was the best advertising Larry David could do for his new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
For sure.
Because that is the most Larry thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to lie. I've watched the clip maybe like 100 times already. It is so funny to me. And it's no, and then I hate being this guy. You see some people that are like, it's not funny that Larry attacked Elmo. It is funny. It's funny. I'm sorry.
funny.
He's a puppet. If
Objectively.
he was attacking a person, no, that's not funny. But it was just Elmo, guys. Elmo wasn't
Yeah.
even bad. Relax.
Oh my God, could you just like imagine like them just using actual footage of people on the internet being like, Larry David attacks a children's puppet. What? You know, it's a puppet. Who cares? Everyone knows it's fake.
It's so
the children don't
funny
know,
to-
Larry.
but
the children didn't know.
Yeah, the children don't know. And then he literally,
The children know. They know.
and then it was literally Elmo's birthday, like the next day. But here's the kicker. They announced Elmo on his birthday was 3.5, which by my calculations means that's a half birthday. Not your actual birthday if you're turning 3.5. So yeah, quite the week for Elmo. That's all the news I
Larry
got though.
David.
And Larry David.
I'm
I'm a big Larry
checking-
David
I mean,
guy.
I don't. What was this? New York? I mean, I don't practice law in New York, but like
Call up
in
Jake.
Massachusetts, that would be assault and
Yeah.
battery on a child. If Elmo counts as a child, which considering his age, he
Considering
might.
his age, I think
I
he
don't know.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He might.
that's why they posted it. They're like, get his age out there. Hurry for the suit.
Elmo, as soon as Elmo goes to the public domain, someone needs to make a movie or a documentary about Elmo suing Larry David.
Oh my God.
Almost
Wait, they
Larry-
need to make that movie right now. I hope Larry David is on that project.
David.
Like, how do we get a movie of Elmo suing Larry David? It'll be the comedy hit of the century. Oh my God.
Oh my God, it would be so good. It would be like so good if you could get the IP to Elmo and like
I can just picture Elmo being like, yeah, okay, Elmo's in.
Talking head of Big
this is a
Bird.
puppet. Ted Danson
Everyone
comes
always
in.
loved
Larry,
Elmo.
why would you strangle Elmo?
Can't believe you did that to Elmo, Larry.
It was so
what is Jeff Garland's wife's
Susie.
Larry, you fucking asshole.
You fucking
What's he
asshole.
fucking
Elmo's a
asshole?
national
You
treasure,
fucking
Larry.
Larry, what the fuck are you?
Everyone hates you and everyone loves Elmo, and look
You're a
what you
scum.
did. Yeah.
You're a scumbag, Larry David.
It's too good. I knew I had to bring it up. It's the funniest thing that's happened.
so good.
It's so
It's got to
funny.
be in the final season,
I hope
right?
so.
Like, it's
I-
got to be in the final
I,
season.
I hope so badly.
I
It's
think
so
he said
good.
as much, right?
I don't know. He did
Really?
apologize, kind of. He kind of apologized.
He Larry David apologized,
Yeah, he Larry
so
did.
not apologize.
You know,
It's a
he was
puppet.
talking.
You know,
It's a puppet.
Two
Because
quick
I saw the
things.
hand.
Two quick things.
it's basically, I shook
goddamn.
some man's hands. And everyone's freaking out.
You know. Oh, that is
Um,
good. Okay, that's all I have. Evan, do you
yeah.
have anything?
real quick, Jim Carrey will reprise his role as Dr. Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I think this is news because
Love
he had
it.
announced his retirement, and we weren't sure if he was going to come back.
Yes.
Shadow the Hedgehog will be in it.
It's important to the franchise, if I'm being honest.
Yup.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really glad.
That's like the best Jim Carrey thing Jim Carrey's
It's
done.
I
his
love
most
it.
Jim
In a
Carrey
long
role
time.
in a long time.
It's so fun, and he looks like he's enjoying himself, which I love.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have movies.
They definitely call him and like, hey, be Jim
They're
Carrey.
like, we
He's
don't
like,
really have
"Ooh."
too many lines. This is kind of what the plot's about. Okay, I'm on it.
Yeah. And then personally,
I love
for
it.
Alex and I, this is big news. Donald Glover
Oh.
confirms the community movie script is done, and he's all in. And his involvement has been
all
speculated
in.
whether he would be in or not, rejoining the cast, and looks like he's in. So I'm very excited
I'm
about
in.
that.
I am too.
Yeah, that's all I got for news.
That's me too. Jake, before I wrap us up here, first off, thank you so much for coming. This
Yeah,
was so much
This
fun.
was a ton of fun.
This was a blast. Thank you for watching this movie. Sorry it did not meet your expectations, but I'm glad we were able to talk about it with you. You got a lot going on. Where can people follow you on social media? You're streaming on Twitch right now too, right?
Yeah, I'm streaming on Twitch. You can find me on Twitch as Jake Wokane. And then on Twitter or Instagram, you can get me at Jake O_Kane. You know, Marlo, I'm out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
you know?
We'll link all those.
That's how we found Jake on Twitter, just tweeting about animated stuff, and I was like, dude, we need you. So he's got good tweets. Go
Yeah.
follow him, and a good Twitch stream to follow too. So love it. I love I noticed it halfway through, and it wasn't an appropriate time to bring it up. But the torch in your background, you're definitely a fire trainer. I can't believe I missed that. You're
Oh, yeah.
you're just such a fire
Yeah.
gym leader now. I'm so proud. I love it. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna wrap us up. Jake, anything else you want to say before I do it here?
On to Pokemon the third.
Yeah, that's right. Woo! Yeah, on to bigger and better
Yeah.
things. On to unknown things.
Oh, I see what you did there.
See what I did there. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, please go find more of our episodes. You can check them out. We have a huge backlog all on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube as well. You can follow us at Two Dudes Watch Cartoons on Instagram and TikTok. And wherever you're watching, please don't forget to rate, review, leave a like. Share it with someone. 2024 is the year of growth. We had a really, really good 2023, so we're hoping to follow it up here. And just once again, super thankful that you came on, Jake. Just kind of chat the shit with us. No, that sounded weird. I didn't like that. Sorry.
That's our new
Retract it.
slogan.
No, that
Chat
was
in the
bad.
shit.
That was, hated it as soon as I said it. Thanks for
Chat the
coming and
shit, dude.
hanging out with us like a normal person would say. And thank you again for everyone listening.
That'll do it for this episode of Two Dudes Watch Cartoons. We will catch you next time.
Two dudes watch cartoons.